In the news this week, she would have been 10 years old. Parents visit the grave on Aishwarya's birthday to mark this special occasion. Exclusive pictures and report coming up.
Latest analysis on the Rockingham by-election as the city's deputy mayor contests the seat. Grace period to soothe concerns over WA's First Nations land heritage laws, and later Dr. Andrew Miller's comment.
This is The Evening News with Ivan Loom and Maliva Thorne.
Good evening. Flowers and tributes have been renewed at the grave of 7-year-old girl Aishwarya as her parents Ashworth and Prasita visited her resting place to commemorate what would have been her 10th birthday. Yet the Perth Children's Hospital did not miss the signs of her fatal illness. WAMN News was given permission by the family to film this solemn occasion. Grace Harrington with this exclusive report.
Extra special flowers for an extra special girl. Ashworth and Prasita come here to Pinaroo Valley Memorial Park every Friday to change their daughter's flowers and clean up the water. This week, however, was special. Their daughter Aishwarya would have been 10 years old.
What happened to Aishwarya should never happen to anyone else, and we just have to make sure that we improve our system in all the areas that needs attention.
To commemorate what would have been a milestone for their beloved daughter, Ashworth and Prasita wanted to do something special.
Since today is Aishwarya's birthday, we thought we have to do something special. So that's why we thought some extra flowers and stuff like that.
The colour pink, baby pink to be exact, was Aishwarya's favourite colour, and so her parents carefully placed a dozen pink roses at their daughter's final resting place. They scattered white petals over her grave and took a moment to sit and reflect.
My simple words would be, we have a really good health infrastructure. We just have to make it work the way it should.
Aishwarya was taken from this world far too soon, back in April 2021, after the Perth Children's Hospital missed the signs of her fatal illness. The family then went through a coronial inquest to find truths and seek positive changes across WA's public health system. The government, on the other hand, says lessons have been learnt, despite the fact that many measures and changes following the inquiry are slowly being implemented.
This has been an absolute tragedy. Our heart goes out to Ashworth, Prasita and their family. And their extraordinary efforts to improve the hospital system are commendable.
Grace Harrington, WAMN News.
The Rockingham by-election campaign continues with the City Council's Deputy Mayor Hayley Edwards announcing her bid after WA Labor chose Magenta Marshall as their candidate. Ms Edwards was a former Labor member, and the party's decision to select Ms Marshall has caused disappointment among some local branch members. Peter Kennedy on how this will shape the by-election.
2 weeks ago, I pointed to potential problems in the Labor Party campaign to successfully take out the Rockingham by-election on Saturday, July the 29th. Well, those problems have emerged. The Labor candidate is the Magenta Marshall, who's described as a political staffer or political strategist. She got the nod from the Labor Party and is favoured to win, there's no doubt about that. However, the Labor Party in Rockingham is not very happy with the way that the candidate was selected, or should I say sections of the Labor Party. And a former member of the party, Hayley Edwards, who's the Deputy Mayor of Rockingham, has now nominated as an independent, and she will split the Labor vote. A number of Labor Party members have decided to resign from the party and will support Hayley Edwards in her campaign. Now, Hayley Edwards has said that she doesn't expect to win, but what she aims to do, she said, is to turn Rockingham into a marginal seat. And she believes that Rockingham as a marginal seat will be better treated by the government than it has been as a very safe seat. Which is perhaps a interesting line as far as the election campaign is concerned. However, not only that, the Labor Party vote promises to be split, and the interesting thing, we'll see how big Hayley Edwards is able to win in the votes. But also from the Liberal perspective, Peter Hudson, well known in the area, who contested the seat of Brand at the last federal election, is also in the field. So it's a big field, but the challenge for the Labor Party is to hang on to that big majority that Mark McGowan won at the last election, something like 80% plus in the primary vote, which is an extraordinary result. One other aspect worth mentioning is the pay rise for MPs, which has attracted considerable interest. A 3% pay rise for MPs. It's not a big pay increase, and in fact the backbencher will now go to $166,724 salary, plus an $88,000 member allowance. It's not huge money. It has been sort of pointed to as, why are MPs getting a pay increase? It's not huge money, and is it enough to attract quality people to stand for Parliament? That's a point in itself. However, and one other point that's worth making is the salary of the Premier, Roger Cook, will move to $377,500. Again, that's not a huge salary for the sort of hours and responsibilities that a Premier is supposed to take. So when people criticise the salaries of MPs, I'd say, well, look at the job that they do, the pressure that they're under, and what people under similar pressure in the private sector, for instance, or even heads of departments in the public service, they're doing much better than that. So just keep that in mind when debating the issue of MP salaries. Peter Kennedy, WAMN News.
Hi there. Are you looking for a new home or want to refinance your car mortgage to get a better rate? At AA Finance Solutions, we have the expertise and knowledge to help you to find the right loan for your needs and budgets. Contact us today. Let us help you to make your home ownership dream a reality.
AA Finance Solutions, your local mortgage broker.
The Australian Arab Association's second round of Eid Carnival was held this weekend at Thornley, with the community celebrating the event at Homestead Park. The 8-hour event was filled with multicultural performances, kids' activity, food stalls, camel rides, bazaar stores, henna paintings and more. This family-friendly event highlights the Arab Association's tradition of uniting the multicultural community, with several successful events held on Australia Day and the first round of Eid Carnival after Ramadan.
Salim Youssef was the founder of the Australian Arab Association. He founded it 13 years ago, and this was something to give the Muslim community and the community in general a happy atmosphere to celebrate Eid, which is the Muslim celebration twice a year.
Well, as you can see, there's a lot of people here. It's really good to bring it back into Thornley, near the suburbs. This is a very, very rich area of multiculturalism. So I think it's really good. You can see everyone's really happy, and it's always a great festival.
Police are investigating a string of crimes, including when an ATM and a car were allegedly stolen. Police were dispatched to a vehicle fire incident in Dalyalup on Thursday morning, and authorities later established that a white Holden Colorado ute was stolen from an East Bunbury-based smash repair shop. Authorities believe the car was used by persons who are yet to be identified in an alleged burglary in Gallowrup. It then went to a supermarket in Donnybrook via Southwest Highway at around 5 a.m. when several unknown persons allegedly forced entry into the supermarket and stole the ATM with the vehicle, which was later recovered. Anyone with any information is asked to contact Crime Stoppers.
The number of early childhood education and care traineeships completed in the past year has skyrocketed as a result of the state government's investment in free and low-fee training. The state government introduced low-fee traineeships in response to feedback received as part of the 2021 Perth and Regional Skills Summit. Fee-free training incentivised WA residents to undertake training that they would otherwise may not have considered. Ella is enrolled at TAFE and began her traineeship with Good Start in December last year and has been loving her work ever since.
So we're getting really good entry into early education and care, and then stability in the workforce. There is huge demand for these jobs, so it's a great career if people want to think about entering into it.
Police are appealing to the driver in an alleged hit-and-run incident of a 12-year-old girl to come forward. Authorities have released CCTV footage of the incident, showing the white car's movements before and after it allegedly hit the 12-year-old girl. The crash has left the girl with serious leg injuries and a broken collarbone. Police say the 12-year-old girl was trying to cross a pedestrian crossing on Pine Tree Gully Road when she was struck by a vehicle. The driver of the vehicle failed to stop and was last seen travelling along Pine Tree Gully Road toward Burunda Boulevard. Anyone with information regarding this incident should contact Crime Stoppers.
And now, here's Leo Puglisi with what's coming up on 6 News tonight.
Thanks, guys. On 6 News, the Yes campaign ramps up amid polling showing dropping support for the Voice to Parliament, a funeral held for the French teenager shot dead by police with ongoing unrest, and the National Anti-Corruption Commission now officially taking force. Watch live on our YouTube channel 24/7 and on our website 6newsae.com. For now, though, it is back to you.
Thanks, Leo. And speaking of the second round of the Eid Carnival, how did you find it, Ivan?
Loved the multicultural performances, the bazaar stalls, and the camel rides. Now, I haven't gone to camel rides yet. In fact, it's the third time I've missed it.
Well, you'll have to make it your own personal mission at the next one. We'll recap this week's top stories again in just a moment.
But right now, here's Grace Harrington with her first edition of Western Perspective. Grace, congratulations and welcome to the team.
It's great to be part of the team. Thanks, Ivan and Melly. Welcome to Western Perspective. I'm Grace Harrington. More about my debut shortly, but first, controversy over the Aboriginal Heritage Act continues, with the Cook government announcing a 1-year soft enforcement period. Strong community outcries and panic from farmers, landowners, builders and property developers have forced the government to concede on better education over the law, which carries hefty fines and imprisonment. So what's next from here? Liberal MLC for Mining and Pastoral Regions, Neil Thompson, who presented a petition of almost 30,000 people, joins us this week.
Premier Cook speak on the implementation of the Aboriginal Heritage Land Act. Come July 1st, he says that not much is going to change in terms of, I guess, how projects are going to be completed, and also for farmers. Not much is going to change. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's simply not true. We on the 1st of July, a bill which took up 266 pages, and we've got regulations which govern everything from the excavation of 50 centimetres of land through to running a massive mining project. They're very prescriptive. It's likely there'll be significant change. I think it's important for people to realise that in 2022, in the financial year, only 59 so-called Section 18 applications were put to the government. 59. As of 1 July, people are required under legislation and regulation to apply for permits where they think Aboriginal cultural heritage might exist, and they are required to apply for permits for very low levels of activity which would never had been considered under the Section 18 process.
People have to apply for these permits if they believe that they might come in contact with heritage land. What if they were to ignore that, not consider such a thing? What would happen? Are there penalties?
Well, this is part of the problem. The requirement is actually on the landowner to undertake their due diligence. We now have these mixed messages from the government about whether or not people need to apply those laws on the 1st of July. Some very unusual commentary from the Minister saying that they're going to have an educative first approach to laws, which they saw necessary to include imprisonment and fines of $500,000, 2 years imprisonment, even for unintentional damage. Clearly that's not the case. This government can spin it however they like. They clearly made a mess of the implementation of these laws, clearly made a mess of it. We've obviously had the spin doctors in the Minister's office try to work out a few words to try to calm everyone down. The huge anxiety and concern. The best thing the Minister could do would take the advice of the opposition and actually pause the implementation, not promulgate the Act on the 1st of July, give
time for the community to engage, as they now are saying they will do after the laws are applied, but they should do that before they apply the laws, and then come up with some sensible changes which actually take away that anxiety and ensure that we have the protection of Aboriginal cultural heritage in the state, the good relationships with Aboriginal people in the state, and the ongoing cooperation of our landowning community with respect to maintaining and protecting Aboriginal cultural heritage.
Can you give me any examples of what changes could be beneficial to allow farmers and project leaders to continue going about their business as they have always done?
Yeah, look. There's so many examples you could point to, and that is something the opposition will be presenting, and no doubt, and this is going to be an election issue. I don't doubt from the fact that we had so many people sign that petition who were located in those so-called safe Labor seats on the peri-urban fringe of Perth. We had thousands of people sign that petition. They are concerned about their futures. So clearly this is something we will take. It will be an election issue, I'm sure. But there are issues, for example, we see local government in their submission were concerned about fire breaks. Now, a fire break on an existing fire break apparently is a Tier 1 activity. There's certain exposure to these laws. So we have a situation where people are required under fire management to undertake certain activities and then also exposed to the Aboriginal Cultural Heritage Act. Now, if that fire break were to occur in a situation, for example, where there was some regrowth and that involved the removal of that regrowth, my reading of the Act is, or regulations is that activity would also require a Tier 2 permit. Now, we have this outrageous situation where somebody could be exposed to huge penalties for undertaking their obligations in relation to fire management. Now, that's just one example, and I could point to hundreds, if not examples which have been raised. These forums, I'm hoping the department is keeping a record, and I certainly will be maintaining an open door to the public in relation to concerns that they have, because we need to make sure the government hears the message about the concerns around the complexity of these regulations.
That's absolutely insane to think that, I suppose, for something as simple and as necessary as a fire break needs to go through these procedures. In terms of farming, there's so many, I guess, generational farmers out there who know the land that they've lived on for, again, generations. I think it would be really hard for them to go from having, I suppose, free reign on their own property to then having to ask for permission to do things like building dams or cropping, providing this state and our nation with food that we need.
So that has been an issue that's been raised. So the Minister keeps talking about like-for-like activity. I think the Pastoralists and Graziers Association President made it very clear that farming is an innovative business. They innovate constantly, and there's things that happen on the farm that aren't always like-for-like. So like-for-like activity, if you're ploughing your field last year, you can plough it this year. But we know that, for example, if you were to, on that field, want a deep rip, for example, that would probably require a Tier 2 permit. Now, so, for example, if there was some erosion on a stream that occurred during a flooding event on your property and you needed to move a fence line to a slightly different alignment, you're going to need a Tier 2 permit if it covers vegetation. So these are the questions that, for example, even only, I believe, yesterday at a forum in Carnarvon, that the staff at that forum said that they would get back to growers who raised these concerns about fencing and said they would get back to them on that. It's simply not good enough. We should not be putting out laws which people are totally confused about, that need to be clarified and that need to be actually engaged, and we should have had a proper public education program up front to ensure people could comply.
That was Liberal MLC Neil Thompson. And now here's Dr. Andrew Miller with his weekly medical and news commentary.
Hi, thanks for your time. Stunning winter's day in Perth today, a day to reflect on the loss of Aishwarya and what that means for her family and What it means really, I think, to look after others in the community rather than just ourselves. The focus that the family have had on wanting to protect others in a way that their own daughter wasn't protected, I think is really a humbling inspiration for all of us. And my family's heart goes out to her family, and we're also rededicating ourselves to doing what we can to help others in the community who are less fortunate. We have a lot of advantage in our community, certainly a lot of wealth in our state, and it's only right that that should be used to further the cause of those who suffer more than the rest of us. Also want to extend a welcome to Grace, the new member of the WAMN team. I'm in great admiration of the channel and the network that Ivan's built over the years, and look forward to her contribution as well. So stay safe out there, enjoy these sunny days, and look after one another. Thanks for your time.
That was Dr. Andrew Miller, and that's Western Perspective for this week. Before I go, it's an honour for me to join the team here at WAMN News. Growing up in regional Queensland, I confess that I'm a bit of a country girl at heart, and it's my passion to share stories from people who aren't being heard. I look forward to bringing you more local stories here in Perth and WA. Until next Sunday evening, it's back to you, Ivan and Melly.
Thanks, Grace, and congratulations once again. And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest news on our website, wamnnews.com.au.
Don't forget to subscribe to the WAMN Extra News Club so we can continue our work in the community. Full details on wamnnews.com.au/news/extra. From Melly and myself, wish you good health, good night. See you next Sunday.
Thanks for watching.